Hey guys, it's Mary with Stamps-N-Lingers, and I am so sorry that I am late. Something is different with YouTube all of a sudden, and this is the second time in a row that I've managed to finally get it switched to landscape, but I have no idea how. So hopefully by the next time we do this, I will have it figured out. I am very, very sorry for being late. So let me just double check that I'm actually landscape. Okay, I am. It looks like I am. I don't know what the deal is. It was working fine up until, like, 2 times ago. Okay, let's see if we can get centered up here. All righto. Looks like I'm transmitilating, so that is a good sign. This is the card that I gave you the sneak peek of. I don't know if you were able to figure it out. I know I'm having trouble with it. YouTube is, I don't know, maybe YouTube is channeling Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know. Maybe it wants to be like Facebook, annoying. Hey, Mary. Hi, Faith and Shirley and Sherry. Appreciate you coming. All right, here's our card. And this is from the Greatest Journey stamp set. And I am probably going to call it Greatest Adventure or Enjoy the Adventure at least 27 times tonight. For some reason, that is absolutely stuck in my head, and I'm really having trouble getting it out. So there you go. So here is the stamp set and die, very pretty. And then we have some of the Enjoy the Journey DSP. And this is singularly my favorite. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful DSP in there, but this one I just love. It is a night sky, and it makes me very happy to look at it. So I wanted to use it and really showcase it. So let's go ahead and get started. Everything will be on my blog tomorrow, so you don't even need to take notes or nothing unless that's just how you roll. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And Lorraine, welcome. All right, let me set this aside. So, as I mentioned, we're going to start with a piece of the Enjoy the Journey DSP. And I'm going to adhere it to a piece of basic black for its matte. Now, the look I was going for with this card was a cold, wintry night in the mountains in Colorado, because that's kind of my frame of reference. And I hope I got it. I'm not even going to tell you how many times I tried to do the clouds. I made so many clouds in the last 2 days, I can't even tell you, before I finally got something that I liked. All right, so let me put that aside, and I'm going to do a little stamping to get us ready to make our sentiment, and then we're going to make some clouds. Now, for the sentiment, I have a piece of Starry Sky, and I have cut it out with the, I call it the smallest wide die. Okay, so these are the wide dies, and these are the skinny dies in the stitched rectangles. So I've used this die right here to cut out my sentiment. And I'm going to stamp You Belong Among the Stars in Versamark ink on there. So let me give it a little rub with my embossing buddy, and we'll get our Versamark out. Hey, Amy, appreciate you coming. And I'm going to get my embossing powder ready. And my spoon. Okay, there we go. So this is step 1, and I'm doing this now so that it'll have good and plenty of time to dry. Because, you gotta let embossing powder kind of dry / cool off so that you don't make a mess. And you will make a mess if you rub embossing powder while it is still hot. I promise you it will smear, guaranteed. So give it a second. Don't try to check it to see if it's embossed and see if it's dry, cool. Just give it a second, and we'll just give that a little tap and a little blow, and then we're going to put this away. I learned many, many, many years ago that if you start blowing around your open embossing powder, you're going to have embossing powder in places you don't want it. I promise. Hi, Deb. Appreciate you coming. Now it's gonna get loud, sorry. I'm gonna emboss this with my embossing tool. And it's gonna get real white and real pretty. Can you see it changing? Whoop, don't go anywhere. There we go. Okay. Now I'm just going to let that set for a while, a little while, off to the side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a mountain out of a molehill. Oh, I'm just so funny. That's the thing, is I'm just so stinking funny. Now I have a piece of cardstock that is as wide as the panel that I created. And what I'm going to do is use this edge die in the Greatest Journey set. And we're going to cut a mountain. And I want it to end up being about 2 inches tall, so about half of this size, okay? It's not a very big mountain, but it's bigger than it looks. How about that? Let's go with that. So we'll get our die set up here. And let's see, what did I say, about halfway? And it doesn't really matter where you put it. It's gonna look like a mountain almost regardless. But you do kind of want it straight. You know what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down? Okay. There we go. We'll roll that through. Sorry if I'm making you seasick. Apologies. I know, Debbie, this is the one you can get right now when you join. This is a boho blue mini, and I don't know why I'm closing that because I'm going to need it again in just a second. Let me be sure I got my mountain right, that I'm happy with my mountain before I get rid of it. Sometimes I make a mistake. I know it's hard. See what I did there? Do you see what I did there? I did it completely wrong-ola. It was supposed to be the other way. Goodness gracious, I can see we are starting off good. We're just starting off so good. All right, hang on. Let me do a little more measuring. I think what I did is the measurements that I had cut were quite close to each other. So let me get another piece of black. They were quite close to each other, and I picked the wrong direction. Yes, I did. So let's go with this. 3 5/8. All right, let me see what we got here. Make sure we're right. Okay. You know what they say, measure once, cut twice. That's what they say. Actually, they say measure twice, cut once, but apparently I did not heed that. Let me be sure I'm still doing it right. Okay, now I'm gun shy. All right, we're gonna do that again. Fortunately, it's a pretty easy die cut, right? Fortunately, it's a pretty easy die cut. There we go. Extra snow because of Lake Michigan. Lucky you. Lucky you. All right, I think I got it this time. By golly. By golly. I think I got it this time. Yes, I did. Okay, perfect. Now, while I have my little machine still handy, we're going to cut a couple of, and by a couple, I mean 4. I'm going to use the 2 big clouds in the die set. And we're going to cut 4 clouds, 2 of each size, in basic gray. And then we're going to put all of this away. Hey, Peggy, I'm glad you were able to make it too. I hope everybody's having a good time. You know, for some reason, I thought tomorrow was the Super Bowl. Why did I think the Super Bowl is in January? Isn't the Super Bowl usually in January? I mean, I was certain it was. So you guys, I was telling you, I messed around with these darn clouds like nobody's business. I had this idea in my head. Have you ever been in a really clear, cold winter night in the mountains, regardless of where, and there's just some clouds drifting across, so you can see them, but they're almost see-through. That's what I was going for. And I tried vellum. I tried vellum with a Stampin' blend. I tried vellum with a Stampin' blend and craft ink. Nothing made me happy, and I was really getting frustrated. And finally I thought, you know, I bet you're just working too hard at this. Duh. So I pulled out my basic gray and my craft ink, and the next thing I know, I had the clouds I had been looking for. So you do not have to do any of that effort. You can just, if you like this card, you can just make it just like this. Just do it like I'm doing it. Okay? All right, so now we have some clouds and we have a mountain. Oh, you know what I should cut while we're here? Let's cut a moon. We need a moon. Any clear winter night in the mountains worth its salt has a moon. Preferably a half moon or a little fingernail moon, whatever they call those. Waning, waxing, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I just don't know what it's called, but it's gonna be what it is. Okay, so here's the little die. Isn't he so cute? And we're gonna cut him. And then we'll be done with Mr. Baby Boho. With the bitty baby boho. And yes, this is, right now, if you join between now and the end of February, you can spend $129 and get either the boho blue, the baby boho I like to call him, or the white mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, plus $175 worth of product of your choice. We don't even choose for you. You get to choose yourself. And the whole thing ships for free. Gotta love it. And there's still no obligation. You would think with as awesome a joining special as it is and as much good free stuff as you get that there'd be like and you have to stick around for a year. Nope, none ya. None of that. None of that. Okay, now I've got my Whisper White ink pad. Now, you know, when you buy these, this comes empty, clean, uninked. And you get a bottle of re-inker and the ink pad, and you just dabble, you dribble the refill all over it, and then use a credit card or a bone folder or whatever to smear it all around, and then you have an inked ink pad. So, crescent moon, there you go. That's exactly what it is. We're going to take this, and the first thing I want to do is I'm going to make some moonlight shining down on the top of this mountain. So I'm going to go easy until I see how much ink I have, and I'm just going to barely flick the top of the mountains with this ink. And I mean, I am really not laying on very much ink at all. But you do want to go from the top down because you're trying to you're trying to approximate moonlight on the mountain top, right? And I also think it doesn't hurt to leave the brush strokes, the sponge or dauber strokes, a little bit visible. So can you see that? You might be able to see it better like this. There you go. So there's our mountain. We'll set him aside for a second. And then I'm going to ink the clouds. And you can do however you like. I just kind of went willy and nilly, but I didn't try to make it real homogeneous, all the same. I left it kind of, you know, blotchy because they're clouds being hit in different ways by the moon. Let me just tell you what, adhesive does not stick to this white ink. No, it doesn't. It wasn't good. I have many clouds in my trash can. many clouds in my trash can. Added extra weeks to the... Why? Oh, was that because of the bills thing? Maybe that was because of that kid who had the problem. That could have been. You can tell I really follow football really closely, so I would have heard about that for sure. And then I thought it would be fun to do a little extra near the top because that would be closer to that bright moon, right? And I know that my moon's kind of going to go on the right side, so just because I'm real artsy, not really, but I'm going to pretend, I'm using a little more on the right side of these little clouds. I really ended up liking these. I actually left my vellum clouds on the card front overnight, and I came back to it, and I was like, no, that's not going to work. And I had to change it. Okay, there we go. One more thing we're going to do. Let me be sure we're good and dry here on this, on the sentiment. Yes, we are. So there's a real cute little stars image, and I'm going to dab it in the white, and then I'm just going to stamp it around. And it isn't going to be very noticeable, but you can definitely see stars. You're seeing stars. Do you see the stars? You really can't see the stars on the camera, I'm pretty certain. Okay, let's go ahead and close that up, because even though it's white, it can make a huge mess. I am just saying. Now, I'm going to take some black dimensionales, and we're going to adhere our mountain to the bottom of the panel. I like to use the black when I'm doing black cardstock. It's just how I like to roll. There we go. And then we're going to put that at the bottom of the panel. And it's just going to line up with the edges and the bottom of the basic black mat. Okay, like so. Now I'm going to go ahead, crafting, wanted to use it stamped. It had no ink on my stamp. Well, you know, you really don't expect that, right? I mean, you just really don't expect it to not have ink on it until somebody reminds you, oh, it doesn't have ink. All right, now where did my moon go? Oh, moon. Oh, dear. Did he get away from me? He got away from me, unless he's sitting right in front of me. Y'all see it? No, I don't see it either. Oh. Well, baby boho back to the rescue. Hang on. As soon as I pull this out and cut it, we're going to find it. As soon as I pull it out and cut it, we're going to find it. Here we go. Let's try one more time. Oh, you just wanting me to sing? I can feel it. I feel it starting to pop out. Amy, are you ready? Will you sing with me? The hills are alive with the sound of music. Woo! Okay, there we go. Now I'm not going to lose this moon. Come here, moon. And I'm not going to lose that die. I need to confess. I have a confession. I have already misplaced. I don't want to use the word lost. What in the world? Did you see that? There it is. Phew. I have already temporarily misplaced the small cloud. So I'm going to have my husband come. He seems to have like a sixth sense about where I might have put them. I've already done a trash can dive. I know, it was wonderful, wasn't it, Amy? Your ears are going, thank you, Mary, thank you. All right, this guy is going to be right there in the sky. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm going the correct way, and I'm going to put this card front on with some more dimensionals. And I'm doing that because I'm putting my sentiment so that it kind of spills off the left side. And that way it really helps if you know where the left side is, right? There we go. But I am going to triple check before I adhere it to be sure I don't have a repeat of Thursday's debacle. The debacle. I know that's not how you say it, so don't correct me. I know it's not how you say it. I'm being amusing. Okay, yeah, there we go. And I am pushing it to the right. If you follow challenges, you probably recognize the Global Design Project Challenge. There is the other one in the gray of your group. It'll show up. Lordy, I tell you. I'm a mess. I'm a hot mess. I don't even know what to tell you. All right, so I am going to pop this on with dimensionals, and I'm only going to use dimensionals from about here over, because otherwise it's going to be, it would have to be stacked dimensionals. And you can do that if you want, but there's no need to. So I'm just going to start right there and put some dimensionals here, like so. Da-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-dum. And then we're going to put that right like so. Okay, now all of the clouds have dimensionals as well. They're all dimensionalated. I know, that would be a really good, you know, I feel pretty confident that I could get one of those at what's the name of that place I'm thinking of? Harbor Freight. I feel very, very certain of that, actually. And I'm putting dimensionals on all of these except the last big one, and we're going to put him on last. Okay, so I'm going to start with a medium one. Yeah, I've looked in all of those places. One time I found one inside a stamp set that I'd used like 2 cards before. I even looked in I had on my sweater, you know, and I had the sleeves turned back. I even looked in the sleeves to see if I had put them there. Okay, now to adhere this first one, I really wanted that moon to be kind of sticking out like that. All right, and then we're going to take a big one. And put him on like right about there. I know they do make magnetic bowls, but I would have to actually physically put it in the bowl. The thing that's so odd is I only cut with it one time, one cloud, and it was sitting right here on the desk. And so it is definitely somewhere. But I'm hornswoggled if I've found it yet. All right, and then one more little one. Like so. I'm gonna stuff him up there a little bit. Okay, now this one, this last one, I want him to be overlapping my sentiment and then falling off of the edge over here. Okay, so I'm just gonna put some dimensionals right here at the bottom. And I gotta grab some more black dimensionals from my little dimensional stash over here. Okay. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. So I'm just putting them right at the bottom because the top overlaps that other cloud. All right. Make sure he's kind of, we'll put him down there like that. There we go. And that's all. And I am not even doing anything else. I'm leaving it just like that. Just a clear night in the mountains. Get that little bit out there. Okay, so now let's do the innards, the inner innards. For that, I'm going to pull out some Starry Sky. Oh, thank you, Tara. That is very sweet. Even though I appear to be a hot mess tonight, yeah? What in the world? This is 2 hot messes in a row. Y'all, don't give up on me. I promise I'll get my act... Oh, promise I'll get my act together pretty quick. All right, and then I'm going to use this sentiment here in Starry Sky on my basic white panel. And then I'm going to put away this ink that's trying to get everywhere. And I'm going to pull out my foam mat. Now, this is the one that goes with my Stamp-N-Lingers, but I just wanted it as a foam piece because I'm going to stamp these trees across the bottom in tuxedo black. You want to be sure that you've got a nice, juicy stamp pad for this part. Or, of course, the alternative is to put it in your Stamp-N-Lingers, but, you know, why would I do that? Because that would guarantee success. This way, it's like more of a crapshoot. Judy, non-crafting related question, if you don't mind answering. Oh, well, the one I flew the most out of my career was the C5, but I started on in C21s, which is a Lear 35. It's like a business jet. It may not even, I don't even think it's still around. They've transitioned. But it was wonderful. The C5 was a wonderful airplane. The Lear was, you know, it's a Learjet. Hello. It's hard to not like a Learjet. So those are the 2 I flew. The thing about the military, it used to be at least, is that once you were identified with what they called a major weapon system, so the big planes, you know, the C-130s, the KC-135s, the KC-10s, the C-5s, the B-52s, those, once you were identified with that, you kind of you stuck with that airplane for most of your career. So they may be doing a little more broadening now, but when I was flying, you stuck with it. And I was glad of it because the C-5... Rockin' airplane, really is. Okay, now I'm just stamping the front of my envelope with those black pine trees, and then I can get my Memento ink away before I have ink everywhere. It would happen. It would happen. It would. Okay, now let's go ahead and adhere this to a basic black mat. I can see some trees on your left. Could they be added to the mountain? You mean stamped to the mountain? I will tell you, I did try, just as an aside, since the question was asked, I tried just die cutting this in black and using it as a topper, and I just didn't like it. It did not work. And so then I thought, I mean, I really played with a lot of ideas on this card. I don't know. I went down a rabbit hole. I tried this one. I thought, well, maybe that one would look like trees, you know, where it would be stuck there. And it just didn't work for me. So I went with straight up tree. I went straight up tree. Yes, I did. That's what I did. Cargo Master. We have a teammate who was a loadmaster in C5s, and actually we flew together when we were in Dover together. She was a reservist, I was active duty, but there was often intermingling between the crews. All right, and then I'm going to put that on the inside of my card. Wow, raced gliders and built them. That's really cool. I am, and I'm totally prejudiced because I flew around with 4 of them hanging off the wings. I'm a pretty big fan of engines. I like them. And I like a lot of them. Okay, and I'm still right side up. Yay. Whew. Okay, so there's our card. Just one, very simple. I'm not going to kid you. I am totally in love with how this card worked out. It kind of bamboozled me for a minute, but once it decided to cooperate, or I decided to get over myself and not try to be so stinking, you know, overly, you know, weird with what I was doing. Well, they don't, but when the wind quits, gravity works really good on them, you know, just saying. And C5s have never blown up. There's never been a C5 that blew up. Okay, more of that beautiful paper. I would like a ceiling in my bedroom that was painted like this and had those little tiny fairy lights where all the stars were. I would like that. That would be so cool. I know, exactly right. A whole pack of just the star paper would be very cool. World's easiest fussy cut. Good opportunity to practice those skills, though. You see me turning the paper with my hand, not turning the scissors with my other hand. And there we go. 2. And actually, I came out of this with 2 cards, unlike the other night when I came out with the same one I went in with. There you go. You can see a little difference. I put a little less shading on this one. It's up to you. You can put as much or as little as you like. So, y'all, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being patient while I tried to figure out why in the world. Husband was a hydraulic specialist. Assigned him to F-15. Yeah, that would have been a culture shock for sure. Anyway, guys, have a great rest of your weekend. I appreciate you spending part of it with me, and I will see you on Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, ready for another video. What will I make? All right, guys. Thanks so much. Ta.